I'm Derek Kilmer. I'm state senator for the 26th district, which goes from the Narrows Bridge to downtown Bremerton. You know, one of my priorities since I've been down here is to work to make sure that the folks I represent get a fair deal when it comes to transportation issues. You know, we've got ferry commuters and we've got Narrows Bridge commuters, and that adds up in terms of cost to families. And one of my prime responsibilities is to make sure that those costs aren't any greater than they need to be. So I want to give an update on the bridge situation and on some of the proposals being made with regard to the ferry system. Folks may have read in the paper about the Transportation Commission making some decisions about setting something called a video toll, and I want to talk a little bit about what that is. Anytime we talk about Narrows Bridge tolls, it's important to me in part because I cross the bridge every day, and as my wife likes to point out, I'm cheap. Let me start off by talking about what this isn't. The Transportation Commission is not talking about raising the good-to-go fares, and they're not talking about raising the cash toll either. They are talking about instituting something new called a video toll, which really deals with how violations are dealt with. So let me talk about what's up with that. Currently, if you cross the bridge and you don't stop at the toll booth and you don't have one of those good-to-go passes, you immediately get a ticket. And it's a ticket for $52 right now. It's $40 plus 3 times the amount of the cash toll. And right now, 40 of those dollars go to the Pierce County court system, and 12 of them come back into the Narrows Bridge tolling account. That can be a problem. I heard recently from one of my neighbors who said they had one of their family members visit from out of town over Christmas. They forgot to stop at the toll booths and got a ticket for $52, and it was like, hey, great, Merry Christmas, thanks for coming around. So right now the Transportation Commission is talking about changing that, and as a result of a new law that passed last year. And that law does a few things. First, it says rather than immediately getting sent a ticket, folks would get sent a bill. A bill would come in the mail, and it means you wouldn't immediately face that huge cost. Second, the new law changes the way that toll violations are dealt with. So what would happen now is you get sent a bill, you'd have 80 days to pay it, and after that 80 days expired, if you didn't pay, then you would get sent a ticket. And rather than those dollars going to the Pierce County courts, it would be done through administrative adjudication, and all of that money would go into the Narrows Bridge tolling account. So part of the reason that's important is because of the analysis that's been done both by the Department of Transportation and by the Senate's transportation staff. That analysis suggests that this will be a net benefit to the Narrows Bridge tolling account and to regular Narrows Bridge users. It'll mean there will be fewer tickets provided, but because all of that money goes into the Narrows Bridge tolling account, we'll see more money come in the door. That also was important because it enabled us to defer a loan that was going to come due this year, and that would have triggered an increase in the toll in the toll this year. And you know, that's you know, we don't want to see that happen because times are tough right now. So right now what's happening is the Transportation Commission is trying to figure out how much that video toll should be, or that violation toll rate should be. And they're talking about anywhere from a $5.50 toll to a $7 toll. My perspective on this is a few things. One, they need to make sure that they make good on the Department of Transportation's promise that this would be a net benefit to regular Narrows Bridge users. Two, they need to be flexible, so if the dollars don't track and they're not conservative enough on the front end, they need to be flexible enough to change that rate. And then third, there's been some conversation about pulling the plug on the toll booths and going to an entire cashless system. You know, I think we need to kind of keep our powder dry on that. I don't want to see that happen until we really understand what the financial ramifications of a move like that would be. I want to make sure that it doesn't come at an added cost to regular Narrows Bridge commuters. Let's see how it works up on 520 first. Let's let them be the guinea pigs. So that's the update on the Narrows Bridge. Let me talk real briefly about ferries. Folks may have heard that the governor has proposed creating a special taxing district to deal with challenges facing the ferry system. I appreciate the fact that the governor is weighing in on the ferry issues. Certainly we have some challenges there, and the ferry system's talked about service cuts. those sorts of things. I do, however, have some real concerns about the solution that she's put on the table, in part because ferries are our marine highways. The ferries are a part of our highway system just like roads are in other parts of the state. And ferry commuters already contribute, and ferry communities already contribute to that through the gas taxes we pay just like everybody else, and through the ferry fares that they pay. There is not a proposal to create a special taxing district up in Seattle to pay for the new viaduct tunnel or to pay for the 520 bridge. There's not a proposal to create a new special taxing district for the north-south corridor that they're talking about in Spokane, or down in Vancouver for the Columbia River crossing that they're discussing. And I don't think that the ferry system should be singled out either. To me, there's a few things that we're going to have to do. One, we're going to have to continue to make ferries a bigger priority within the transportation budget. And second, we've got to make some reforms. And over the last few years, we've been making reforms within the system to make sure it is a more efficient system. And my colleagues and I, who represent ferry communities, are working on a number of reform proposals this year as well. That's important. I mean, all of us understand, particularly those of us who represent ferry communities, understand how important ferry service is, that's reliable and affordable is to the folks that we represent. So that's a quick update on transportation issues. I'll be talking with you again next week to let you know what else has happened in this legislative session.